Hi everyone, how you going? I'm just doing some hem stitching on a scarf, so I thought I would push record and have a chat. My name's Christine. I'm an Australian knitter and weaver, and I'm known as Yarn About Yarn pretty much everywhere on the internet, Ravelry, Instagram, Facebook. I have a Made It store, which is madeit.com.au, and then you just look for Yarn About Yarn. Yeah, if you want to contact me, just leave a message on any of those platforms or a comment here on YouTube, or you can email me at yarnaboutyarn@gmail. So as I said, I'm just hem stitching. I've got a couple of shows coming up, so I wanted to get some new things done for that. So I've been working on those mini weave necklaces, which you may have seen, which I really enjoy doing those and using up all those little bits and pieces, but I'm not sure whether people will like them. So I've done, I think there's about 18 hooks on my stand, and which you can sort of just see in the background there. So I've filled those, and then I've done an extra one to pop on one of the mannequins, just to show it being worn. So I've got all my looms are warped. Both my sari looms are warped. My rigid heddle is warped. I've got a couple of projects planned for each of those, so I'm hoping I can get those all done. The show is on the 3rd and 4th of May. The 3rd of May is actually the day when Australians are going to the polls to vote. So where the show is located is across the road from a high school, and a lot of our voting takes place in schools. So we're sort of getting a bit of signage organised and hoping that because voting's compulsory in Australia if you're over 18, so everyone will be going out to vote unless they do an early vote. We're hoping that people will go to the high school to vote and then pop across the road to the art and craft show. So yeah, I'm just wanting to get some new things ready for that. I wasn't sure whether this video was going to go up or not. I'm only a tiny channel on YouTube. You know, there's 300 and something subscribers, and I thank each and every one of you. But I noticed after my last video, I actually lost a couple of subscribers, which that happens. I lose subscribers, I gain them, I lose them. But anyway, I lost a couple. But I've also noticed the views on each video have been declining. What I used to do in the past was I would have, for the thumbnail, I would have, I don't know what you would call it, but it's pretty standard thumbnail, and I would just change the what episode it was, the number for the episode. And then you read all these things about how people like to connect with people and they want to see your face and blah, blah, blah. So I stopped doing that, and I was letting YouTube select thumbnails, basically, which showed my face. And I was putting those up as the thumbnail for the last, I don't know how many videos, 4, 5 maybe. And it's been interesting. Since I've done that, the number of views on each video has slowly declined. Now, I don't know whether there's a cause and effect there, or whether it's just a coincidence, whether it's my content, whatever. But anyway, so I've gone back and I've actually changed the thumbnail on those. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know whether going back and editing the video like that sort of, gives the algorithm a kick in the pants and boosts the video up, or not. I don't know. But it'll just be interesting to see whether views go up without having my face on the thumbnail. But anyway, yeah, so I'm hoping if I get this, I'm about nearly halfway across. If I get this hem stitching finished while I'm still chatting to you, I'll cut this piece off the loom and show you what it looks like. It's a black wool warp, one of the pre-wound sari warps, and I started with this Zalba ball as the base colour. And that's quite often what I'll do is I'll pull out a yarn that I want to use in a project, and then I will go through the stash and grab other yarns to go with it. So that was the one I started, and then I pulled out a Rowan felted tweed, and I had another Rowan felted tweed which I think I've used all of it except for this little snippet, but it was like the olivey green colour that's in there. So there was a felted tweed. I had this sort of purpley mohair, which I think is the Rowan, it's not mohair, I think it's the Rowan alpaca. I had some of this green textured sort of yarn. I had some of this green novelty fluff. I don't like to use too much of the novelty yarns, but I have got them. They were given to me, and every now and again I'll just pop a bit in for texture. And I've also used some of this sari silk ribbon. So that's what's in this one. What I've been knitting, I'm still working on the commission knit, so I haven't done any of my own design work, unfortunately. And I'm working on it's not a baby, I guess it's a toddler gift knit, which is currently downstairs, but I'll show you more of that. Especially I'd got down as a top down in the round jumper. It's a petite knit, I think it's the Friday sweater, and I got down to under the armholes, and I was a bit worried about the neck. It just looked so tight, and I was sort of stretching it out and thinking, well, if I give that a good block it should be okay. Then I realized I'd actually cast on with the wrong size needle, so I meant to use a 2.5 millimeter. I used a 2.25, and the neck, I was really worried that the neck was just not going to be big enough to go over the little one's head, and if it did, that it would be too uncomfortable. The problem with that neckband is you cast on, you knit, then you fold it over and you knit two together and continue. So, and because it's top down, it's the cast on that you're dealing with, but I thought I'll give it a go at chopping the neckband off, picking up stitches and knitting the neckband back up in the correct needle. And I just butchered that completely, literally. And I just thought, oh, bugger this. So I just ripped it all back and started again. So I'm only like this far down the yoke. Hopefully I can get it done. I'd like to have it done by Easter, so I can gift it then, and then they'll be able to wear it as the weather cools down. So yeah, once I get this done today, I'm going to work some more on that. And then maybe tomorrow, back to the loom again. I have finished my March Sock Club socks, which are these ones here, which are called Falling For You socks, and they're by Katrina Walser. And I think I remember chatting to you about these. Don't have the leftover yarns here, but I'm pretty sure they were a merino silk? Anyway, it's a lovely yarn. So I got those finished just in time. I did struggle a bit with those short rows, and when I was doing the second sock, I don't know, I must have missed one of the short rows, and I had it sort of a leftover stitch or not enough stitches or something, and I tried to bodgy that up a bit and end up with a bit of a hole, but yeah, just closed that up. So they're toe up, which I quite enjoyed the actual knitting of the toe up. I didn't enjoy doing the heel. I much prefer, the heel flap and gusset, but yeah, it's a good experience to try something new. And a couple of days after I finished those, the April box arrived, which I haven't even started. I've opened it and that's as far as I've got. So this box is nice and bright socks again. These are called the Harvest socks and they're by Cowcat Creations, who is Regan, who has a podcast on YouTube. So they're the socks there. So you can see they've got those, I can't think what they're called. Stephen West uses them, that pattern. He's used it in a shawl, he's used it in jumpers. But it's got that at the top, and then it's got a texture sort of pattern down the sock. So again, 3 colours. Not colours I would normally choose and not colours I normally wear, but that's okay. And this month we're using a merino silk cashmere yarn. So you can imagine it's beautiful and soft. Lovely drape. 70% superwash merino, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. So it's actually interesting using all these different bases, what they like to knit with. I quite enjoyed the last ones to knit with. Pretty sure they were merino silk. There was a bit of colour bleeding when I washed them. I thought I noticed some orange on my hands as I was knitting. And then when I washed them, I'm not sure whether the colour was coming from the orange or the red. It was sort of that orangey red in the water. So I just did quite a quick, cool wash. I didn't let them soak. And being fairly all dark colours, I was pretty sure it wasn't going to run into one of the other colours. But this one, it's only reminded me because there is a warning on here that all care is taken to rinse out the dye residue, and washing with similar colours is recommended. Just a bit concerned that this colour in particular might bleed into the yellow, but yeah. So I probably won't get these finished this month, which will mean it'll be the first month that I haven't got the socks finished. But I just need to prioritise some other things first before I get onto those. So that's the socks. Just thinking, did I get any other yarn? And I did get some yarn come in the mail. I ordered some Rowan felted tweed. Not felted tweed, the Rowan Kid Silk haze in a number of different colours because there is a wrap that I want to knit later in the year. We're going away for about 5 weeks and I don't want to take big projects, and I've been sort of thinking about what I could take to knit on this trip. That I didn't want to do socks. I think must admit I'm a bit socked out. It did cross my mind that yes, I could do socks, and I may pick up some sock yarn on the trip and knit some socks if I feel like it. But I wanted to have a backup just in case. So I am knitting a wrap, which I will show you the colours and the pattern probably in the next clip, because I don't have it at hand at the moment and I want to keep doing this hem stitch. But it's a wrap. It uses about 8. There's a scarf and a wrap in the pattern, and the large wrap uses about 8 balls of the Kid Silk Haze, and you knit with 2 strands together. I think it's a 4.5 millimeter needle, and you're basically like marling the colours together and just makes a beautiful long stocking stitch wrap. So I've got a selection of blues and greens for that. I looked through the projects to see what other people had done, and there was one that I really liked, so I just copied their colourways. I think it actually might be one of the samples that the designer, it's a country mouse yarns or church mouse yarns, something like that. Might be one of their samples, so I'm just copying that. Loved the way it looked, and they were colours that I liked. When I actually went to order them and got them in the mail, I was a bit surprised at a couple of them. I thought, I don't know. But because they're mulled with some of the other colours, I think that tones them down a bit. And yeah, I think it will be fine. So the mohair takes up no room at all because it squashes right down. Like when it arrived in the post, the envelope was only this big, and I thought, there's no way all the yarn's in there. But it was, so it's light and it's not going to take up too much room. So that ticks all the boxes for a trip knitting project. I'm just finishing off this, and then hopefully I'll be able to show you. Just break that end off there. Okay. So I've woven about 2 meters. I got these little tape measures on Amazon, I think it was, and I'd seen other people using them, and I wasn't sure where to get them from. They're just paper, and they have, the inches on one side and metric on the other. Apparently they're medical tape measures, I guess, because they're disposable. But I've got a pack with, I don't know how many, like so many in it. So yeah, that's what I use, and I just use those sewing clips, and I have it clipped along the side as I'm weaving. If it's something I want to keep an eye on the length, which I do for scarves, I don't want them too short or too long, and I just sort of move that up as I'm rolling it on. So you can see some red there. That's just some waste yarn that is going to come out. So I usually weave these scarves about 2 meters, and then that gives me plenty to do a twisted fringe on both ends, and also allows for a bit of shrinkage when it comes off the loom, because on the loom it's under tension. And just see if I can take that waste yarn out easily enough. Don't know what end I've started it on. Yeah, it just allows for a bit of shrinkage, and I found that 2 meters of weaving gives me a nice little scarf. So now I'll just twist the fringe, and then I'll give it a wash and sew some labels on. So I've still got it connected to the other end of the loom, but just give you a look at what we've got so far. It's just pulled where I've taken the pulled that waste yarn out. But I will sort that out when I do the fringing. So it's very rare that I weave with just one colour. I am on my rigid heddle at the moment because I'm using it's a textured tonal yarn that's made up of the plies are different sorts. Like there's one sort of a texture and one's plain and different colours. So I found I'm just weaving plain with that, but usually I'll, add a couple of different colours. I'll add some texture. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. And that will soften up and become drapier when it's washed. So I will cut that off the loom and get working on the fringe. So if I can get another one done over the weekend, what's today, Friday? If I get another scarf done over the weekend, maybe another one next week, the week after that. Plan is I'm hoping to get 6 done, and I've got yarn out for 6. So yeah, that's what I'm working towards. And I will show you that toddler's jumper very shortly. Hello. Well, the month has certainly got away from me. It is now the 26th of April, And I think the last little clip was done maybe the second week of April. But anyway, so I think I was showing you the weaving that I had on my loom, and I just finished hem stitching it. I still haven't got to wet finish it. I've got the fringe twisted, but the weather has just been atrocious. We were away for Easter, and where we went the weather was really great, but it was still raining back here at home, and it's been raining nearly every day since. So I have a pile of weaving that I want to get wet finished, because next weekend is the actual exhibition of art and sale of art and crafts. So I've got to get some weaving finished that's still on the loom, and I've got to get the pieces all wet finished and dried so I can sew labels on. But anyway, here's the piece I showed you last time. I do have the fringe twisted on it, and yeah, it just needs to be washed. So there's that one. I did finish another one that was in similar sort of yarns. I think I showed you the Zauber ball. That was my starting point with this one. I also had a purple blue Zauber ball, which is what I used for this one. And then I also matched some Rowan felted tweed, some more sari silk ribbon in a slightly darker colour, and a tealy green mohair. So it's a similar style, just different colourways. So again, fringe is twisted. It's just waiting to be wet finished. The other one that I had on the loom, I had on my rigid heddle loom, which I said was in a plain colour, is this one. I've just knotted the fringe on this one. I'm just going to leave it, and it also needs to have a wash and label stitched on. So that one was just in that plain colour, and the yarn I used for that was Ella Ray Marmel, which is a 58% cotton, 42% acrylic. And I've got some more of this in a blue-green colour, which if I've got time I'll weave that up as well. But yeah, so that's the weaving that I've been doing. So just need better weather. What I'm wearing is the weather, because the weather is rainy and it's also cooled down. We're now in autumn, so we are getting those cooler mornings and cooler evenings, and I've been able to pull out some, still not thick jumpers, but you know, some knitted tops. So this one is called Rialto Ripples. I think I would have shown it on the podcast when I finished it. This was a long-term whip that I finally pulled out and completed after a couple of years. So it's done in, the main colour is a Noro. I've written it down. It's Silk Garden Sock Solo. And the colour that I've used for the lace work, it's a Barocco, and it's called Bobbly lace, but it's actually a sport weight. So yeah, as I was looking back on my Ravelry projects to find the name for this, and I've realised this as I've looked to purchase some patterns lately, just how much single patterns are costing now, because our exchange rate is just terrible. So the price of this pattern now is over 15 Australian dollars, which I think compared to sewing patterns, knitting patterns are still cheap, but we're so used to paying, you know, like $5 or $6 for a knitting pattern, and now when you see them for, you know, 15, you really do a double take and really think about, oh, do I really want that pattern? I know in the past when designers have released patterns, I've bought them straight away because I really like them and think, yes, I'm going to make that. Or a designer would have it offer a discount code when they release a new pattern. And there was one the other day that offered a discount, and I I didn't get it. I'm waiting now until I'm ready to cast on, and then I'll buy the pattern, because I've just got so many patterns either in books or in my Ravelry library that I have bought, impulse bought, and just haven't used. So yeah, it's just interesting. Let me know what you think about the price of patterns now. I'm wondering whether it's affecting sales of, like, even those top name designers, whether they're noticing a decline in sales. Maybe if you're in the US it's not so bad, but I'm really noticing it because of our exchange rate. So yeah, I think I was talking about the toddler sweater I was doing, the Friday sweater, which I didn't get finished in time for Easter. I've sort of lost a bit of steam on it because I'm still not sure about the size. Like, I'm up to the rib on the body, and it wouldn't take much to do it, get it done. And I know because it's rib, it's, you know, it's pulled in and it looks long and skinny and blocking, you know, it is going to block out quite a bit. But yeah, I don't know. I will get it finished. But it's just, I'm just not interested in knitting it at the moment. And the same with the April monthly sock box. I haven't cast those on. I think that my hands have been a bit sore too from doing a lot of the commission knitting. So just using the finer needles, I'm just not finding it comfortable to work on those sort of things. So yeah, I will get to it. My mind's been more on the weeding at the moment. I've made a list of what I'd like to get done for that, and I probably won't get it done, but that's okay. I've got enough. One thing I did pull out was an old whip, and I should have looked this up. I do have the pattern. It's a colourwork sweater, which you won't be able to see because I do have it printed in black and white. It's from the Black Cat Knitting Company, who is Alana Penk, and it's called the Calypso sweater. And this was originally done in rowan felted tweed for the body, and then spin cycle for the colour work. And I'm pretty sure this is a free pattern. So I am using rowan felted tweed for the whole lot. I've got 4 shades of green and 5 of pinky purple. It's worked top down. So what I'm doing is, for the colourwork section, I started with the darkest green, and I'm going through the chart, and I'll go through to the lightest green. I'm just on the 3rd one now, and I should have thought about it better so that I completed that actual flower. I don't know, I might go back and do that flower. Anyway, I'm doing the green from darkest to light, and I'm doing the pinky purples from light to dark. So the body, once I get past the colour work, the green will stop. And the body will be just in the, like, from this light pink colour through into a deeper purple. So that's the Calypso. And I'm just finding using the woollier wool and a bigger needle, that was really nice to knit on. It's not really TV knitting because I've got to keep checking the chart, but once I get onto the body, I think that will be fine. Yeah, I'm just finding that I'm wanting to be knitting with, like, woolly wools at the moment, whether that's a weather thing because it's getting colder, or whether it's, I think it's gentler on my hands as well than having either acrylics or a, you know, superwash nylon sock blend. So that's what I've been working on. The Rowan felted tweed, Rowan kid silk haze that I bought for the wrap to take on holidays. I am going to cast that on. We're not going away for a few months yet, and I will cast that on before we go, just that I'm familiar with it, because there is a stocking stitch, but I'm pretty sure there's a moss stitch or a garter stitch border on the wrap to stop it from curling, just to get it started, just to make sure that my gauge is okay. I won't be doing a gauge swatch. The start of the wrap will be my gauge swatch, but I'll show you the pattern and the colours. It is a church mouse yarns and tea pattern, and it's called the Colour Play Mohair Scarf and Wrap. Don't know how well you're going to be able to see it in the black and white. You can see it's just a big generous wrap. So there are, for the wrap, there's colours they've done it differently. In the pattern it says A to D and then reverse once you get to the centre. But I followed one of their actual samples they did, and there were 8 colours. So these are the colours. I have written down the order that they did them in, but I'm not sure what that is. I don't have that with me at the moment, but these are the colours. It's all the Rowan Kid Silk Haze, which is, I can't find it, 70% mohair, 30% silk. I haven't used a lot of mohair silk, but this is a real favourite of mine. I love the colours. I love the feel of it. So some of these are quite close in colour, but they are different. So that's them there. So like I said, there were a couple, which is this one and this one, that were quite bright, but in the finished product, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I think you need that light coming through as well. So yeah, that will be for that wrap, which I'm sort of looking forward to starting, but I know I can't get too far on that because I do want that to be something that I can knit on for the trip. So that's that. Just checking my notes. I think I've covered everything in the notes. Yeah, the monthly sock box, I've actually cancelled it. I've decided to cancel it. I would have liked to have done the whole 12 months of socks, but it's not a cheap option to get the monthly box, and I'm not a sock knitter. And the patterns, I thought the patterns were exclusive. I don't think that was ever said. I think I just assumed that they were exclusive to the sock club, but they're not. They're released like about a month later. And so if there is a particular pattern that I do want to make, it will be released, and then I can choose the colours that I want to make it in as well. So I think that's another reason why I haven't started the April socks yet, because I'm just not drawn to the colour. Bright yellow is not a colour I wear, and yeah, but that's part of it's also something to look forward to, like a surprise, what you're going to get each month. But I just realised it's not for me, not socks are for me. So I'll be giving that a miss. I think I'll get the next box. I think you've sort of got to give a month's notice. So I will probably get another month. But then after that, it should be cancelled. So that's it for now. Hope everyone is well. Oh, I remember I was talking about my subscribers and viewers and what I was doing with the thumbnail. I did change the thumbnail. I took my photo off all the thumbnails and I put up just the generic one I'd been using for the last year or so. And I've got about 4 new subscribers. So I don't know. Maybe I should take the hint. Whether it's a coincidence or whether, like I said, just changing, editing the video has sort of bumped it up a little bit into people's views. I don't know, but it's interesting to keep an eye on, and yeah, just see what's happening there. But anyway, I think that's it for now. I won't go waffling. I'll get this video up. Enjoy what's left of April, and if I can and if I remember, I'll try and take a little bit of footage just of my setup, and yeah, maybe a little bit of the rest of what's happening at the art and craft fair next weekend. It will be on my Facebook page. I tend to add a few things there or share things that other people have put up. So have a look over there. It's Yarn About Yarn. The link's down below. And don't forget the Etsy destash sale is happening. It's only, I've had a few people from overseas inquire. Unfortunately, it's just for Australians only. With the shipping, it just doesn't make sense to be paying for the postage to go international. It just bumps it up too much. I've had a few sales on there, but there are still some things left, and I might start putting them up somewhere else as well. It won't be just yet though. I just don't have the time. My Made It store has had a couple of sales, so there's not much in there in the way of weaving. I think there might be 5 or 6 scarves, but they're available there, and I keep that stock separate from my market exhibition stock. And once this market sale is over next weekend, I'll be adding some more things to my Made It store. So keep an eye on that if you're looking for something. If you want something for Mother's Day, I've got a few things in there that might be suitable. Have a look. Or if you see anything on my Instagram or any of the ones I've shown you today that you really, really would like as either for yourself or a Mother's Day gift, just get in touch with me. Yeah, I think that's all, and I'll have a chat to you next month. Okay, bye.